Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Chatting with Wisdom. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Rollie Allaire. Gigudo Migwinque is my spirit name, and I'm your host of Chatting with Wisdom. And so, Chatting with Wisdom is is a weekly interview series that features amazing women, and there's a lot of ways that we get to celebrate how amazing women are. And so, I invite you to join me in my private Facebook group, Mind, Body, Heart, and Soul Connection. And you can also find a similar group on Telegram that I've been using this year to share positivity. And today I would like to welcome my very dear friend, Robin. So Robin Hardy is a guide. Is here to guide you on your journey of encouragement, empowerment, balance, challenges, and so much more. She shares with you 21 years experience of 21 years of business experiences and 58 years of life experiences so that you can reach your goals with stride in your step. So Robin is being compassionate and faith-based. She took personal challenges and thrived. Here are a few of the life things that she has experienced to qualify her as your expert in moving forward in spite of trials, obstacles, and mindset. She started a very successful business, profitable, only to lose it at the economy shift. Instead of rolling over, she got up and she reinvented herself, taking those experiences as lessons to empower others. She had been diagnosed with cancer and healed through faith and prayer. She was married at 37, never thought that she would get married. Then God brought her an amazing man who is her husband, her best friend, and most supportive of any adventure that she's ever journeyed on. She has been abused by boys that she's dated. Have to call them boys, as men don't misbehave that way. Forgiven them and moved on. She grew up with her mother, and her conflicting in every way because she was reminded her of her mistakes when she was younger. She moved across the country from California to South Carolina for her husband's job relocation, having to start over again at the age of 47. Knew no one out there, and yet she is thriving now as a Southern girl. She was not able to have children because of PCOS. So her kids are her furry and four-legged. She had lost everything in bankruptcy and was able to rebuild to something even more amazing now. She fractured her T6 and T12 in her back and recovered, kept going while being challenged. She had 2 teeth extracted due to issues with the calcium issues, diagnosed with stage 2 ovarian and uterine cancer with a 20-pound mass destroying the bowel. Today, she stands cancer-free and so much more. We're going to get to talk to Robin about more of who she is and her journey. So thanks so much, Robin, for joining.
Hey, Rollie, good to see you, and thank you for having me and everyone for listening. As you read that, I'm like, who the heck is that person? And, are they still alive? One heck of a life, huh?
Yes. Yes, you've definitely been on a journey. So tell me a little bit more about that journey. So tell me a little bit more about so we kind of got an overview, but tell me a little bit more about you.
Well, I grew up in West Coast, California girl, native, born and raised. Um, I was an oops. My mom was married to one guy, had an affair with another, and married the other one while she was still married to the one that she was first married to. So it's a big old mess. Her family did not know anything about the affair. So it's a lie she lived until her death, actually, to my marriage, because my birth father is someone that walked me down the aisle. Because my father that raised me, that's my dad, had passed away 21 years prior. So, yeah, her lie became known, and she was anchored. Her and I always did this because every time she looked at me, she saw, after I met my birth father and a half brother there, we're almost identical behavior, mannerism, and they're raised in Virginia, and I was raised in California. Go figure that one out.
So
But
I'm I don't know the difference. Canadian over here.
yeah, now California is a very fake place,
Okay.
and from the perspective that I know it as, where the eastern coastline, if you're it's more of a um, straight up shoot from the hip type people.
Okay.
But when I actually met my birth father and they flew me out to Virginia, terrified, I'm living, this man flies me out that claims to be my dad. I'm staying a week in his home with no car. And I'm wondering what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I doing this? But I did the journey, and I think part of it is when I saw a picture of my half brother, we looked identical if you took our high school pictures. So I freaked out. Um, but it was a good thing. It's when my dad died. I told, and my dad died before I met my birth father, and I flat out told him when I met him that you can't replace my dad. He's the one that put up with me growing up, and I said we can be friends or never speak again. That's up to you, because at this point I didn't really care. But we've developed a really good relationship, and now I'm not on the East Coast with them, a couple hours drive away. Um, but yeah, mom and I just pretty much butted heads to the end. She ended up committing suicide, so I've got a
Oh,
big old. She did an OD of pills, and we found her. Um, but it's when we believe that she was dealing with being bipolar, not diagnosed, because back
okay.
then,
Yeah.
it's, I mean, this is 21 years ago. It wasn't a thing, right? So it's just been a interesting journey with family. Never thought I'd get married, and I met Greg. We worked in same company, different divisions, and he had called. I met him. I thought, oh, it's a computer dork, right? Because they come and go all the time over there. And he calls me one day and he says, "Guess what God did in my life?" And I'm thinking, "Who are you and what do you want?" I didn't know. And from there on, I met him in January, became best friends in February. We were engaged in April and married in August.
Wow.
That's how fast that went. Because when God is in it, you know, yeah, whirlwind. We never dated because we were engaged before we ever, found out I was 11 years older than him. But you never know seeing us together. The dynamics in there is he acts older than is, and I'm still a kid at heart. So we fit well together. But yeah, just diagnosed about 30 years ago with PCOS and
So for people that don't know what that is, Robin, what is that? PCOS.
polycystic ovarian syndrome. Basically, that means that you probably will never have kids. Your menstrual cycles are heavy and a lot of clotting, painful. Facial hair. I get all of this and under here all the time. It's just, it's a mess up of the hormones. And it's, they didn't have a diagnosis for it when they found it, but over the years afterwards, they found it. But I actually had at that time, that's 30 years ago, um, pre-cancer cells, they called it, for ovarian.
Yeah.
And so we did, all I can say is it was through faith because I went to a prayer service at our church and I hadn't told anybody, but I was going for a test the next day to double check, see if it slowed down or what happened, and laid hands and prayed on me. And as I walked out, I looked at my girlfriend and I said, "Kathy, I think it's gone. I'm healed." I can't explain the feeling in the body,
Yeah.
but she's like, "Let's hope so." And so I called the doctor. I said, "Hey, I think I've been healed." And so she says, "We'll confirm it with the test," which I thought, oh, here we go. Because basically, the test is a biopsy that puts you into all the delivered children. More power to you guys because I don't know how some of these women do labor as long as they do. Because this test, because I hadn't had children, um, and then I wasn't really sexually active, that it actually put me into contractions. And I thought I was going to kill some. My nails went through the bed thing because it was, oh my gosh, anybody that goes past 5 minutes of contractions, God bless you. Oh Lord, I don't know how y'all. I have a friend that went through 12 hours. I don't know how she did it. I was going to kill something or someone at that moment. Um, and the poor doctor's looking at me and she's like, "I'm so sorry. No, let's just not do this again." But it came back clear that it was gone. So we celebrated and probably about, I don't know, 10 years ago, we were still on the West Coast, and I'd gone to an acupuncturist because I was having some digestion problems and I wasn't going to take a pill. And she told me I had old blood, and I kind of blew her off and thought, great, crazy old lady, right? That's what
Yeah.
I thought. But then we go 5 years ago. Um, Actually, well, before that, I ended up with a T6, T12 back fracture, turning in the shower. Go figure that one out. Lived in a back brace for 9 months. I lost 140 pounds in the back brace, not from exercise, but from nutrition, because obviously you are not moving when you're fractured. Um, and we couldn't figure out why. Nobody knows why. And we turned around from there, and then all of a sudden I'm getting these, several years later, abdominal pains, doubled over. We think it's food poisoning. They went on for about 6 months, and then in July 7th, they actually got so bad I couldn't stand. Um, that's when Greg took me to ER. He's like, "I'm done. We're going." And they found a 20-pound mass in my abdomen.
Wow.
And they were like, "You're going for," actually, what they told me in ER is, from a CAT scan, "You have a mouse, you're going in for emergency surgery." I came there to be hydrated. What are you talking about? So they shipped me over an ambulance. They wouldn't let me go home and get anything. They were like, "This is critical. You got to go." Finding out that if I had waited another week or so, it would have killed me because I would have been septic. Um, the mass had attached to the bowel and was destroying it. So I got there just in time. They sent me to Charlotte. An oncologist comes in the room, and I'm like, "Why is an oncologist here? This is what's going on?" And he said, "You don't know." I said, "No. I was told I was coming here. I couldn't go home and get anything. And here I am saying I've got to go in emergency surgery at 6 a.m. You know, we've been in ER all night. What's going on?" And so he explains to me that I had a 20-pound mass in the abdomen attached to the bowel, was disintegrating it, and stage 2 ovarian and uterine cancer. So the mass had nothing to do with the cancer, but that's how they find ovarian cancer, is on accident going after something else.
Okay.
That's why so many women die from
So
ovarian.
that's common. So that's common that they will actually finding something else.
Yeah, usually ER. I'd say 80% of women have ovarian cancer found in ER.
Okay.
And that's because they can't send you home without a diagnosis. That's just the way it is here. So anyhow, I'm sitting there in shock as they knock my butt out. And 6 hours later, laparoscopically, they got the mass out of my stomach. Apparently, they put a bag over it, cut it up, took it out. And it was old blood. Go figure. Who told me it was old blood in me 10 years prior? So the lady wasn't crazy. She knew what she was talking about.
Yeah.
But anyhow, he got everything. Pathology came back clear, went through chemo, and then we get to 4.5 years ago, where he says to me, "You are totally clear. Your CA-125, which is your cancer marker, is down at 3, which anything below 30 is fantastic. 30 is the marker where you get a scan because something's wrong." And when I went into surgery, it was over 1,000.
Okay.
So that kind of gives you where I went to where I ended up. And he told me that after chemo, I had to do what's called hormone therapy. And I'm thinking, why? I'm cancer free. You got it all. Pathology's clean. Numbers are good. Why? And he explained to me that ovarian cancer is fed through estrogen. And so they put me on an estrogen blocker, which for most people, you'd say, okay, so what? You don't have as much estrogen. You're not on a cycle because they did a complete hysterectomy. But it's a bad thing, but you got to weigh your battle. It's either I had to choose cancer reoccurrence at an 80% chance it would come back, or a medication that was going to give me side effects, but I'd only have a 20% reoccurrence.
Okay.
I chose the 20% reoccurrence because I was not going through what I just came through again. Bad part is my side effects, and I guess I just didn't know how severe they would be, was hypertension. So I got put on blood pressure medicine. uh, joint and bone deterioration. I have no cartilage in my knees. Yay me. Orthopedic will not fix it until I get my BMI down below 40. Okay, well, that's a problem because the other thing that that medication causes is severe weight gain. And I tried for 4.5 years. Everything out there, Whole30, all the programs, starving myself to death, right? Nothing budged it. It would only go up. Greg would follow me in whatever program, he'd lose weight. And I'm like, this really is not working.
Can you stop it?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm eating cardboard and I'm gaining weight. There's something wrong. So I went on a forum and there's millions of women on this medication. And they're all saying the same thing. How do we get the weight off? We can't do this. And you're only on it for 5 years, which, may seem minute, but 5 years when you're struggling like this,
Yes.
it's not good. And when it's impacting the fact I can't walk. Now it's not I can't walk because I'm fat. I can't walk because I have no knees.
Yes.
And I have people look at me and I'm like, try walking with no cartilage in your knees.
Yep.
The orthopedic surgeon, when he looked at the x-ray of my knees, said, you are a superhero because you're standing. He told me I shouldn't be able to stand at all. And of course, by then, when he said that to me, I'd done so much mindset work that I was overcoming the pain I was in that I started over because he told me I shouldn't be able to walk. So, of course, now I don't think I can walk, right? So I had to relearn and reteach my brain the mindset in. So 4.5 years go by, and I've been watching everybody on one plan, and I thought, everybody talks smack, their plan is great, blah, blah, whatever. Yeah. You don't know my situation, and they're all this, people telling me you just need to eat better. Okay.
I don't think I thought about that one.
No, I haven't already done that before and been successful. And I did Whole30, which is, oh my gosh, so expensive if you do it. And nothing. And so, I kind of looked at this one plan and my pastor's wife was doing it. And I'm like, well, why is she doing it? She's not overweight. Well, apparently she had put on some belly weight before. I haven't seen them in a while because we watch church online. I can't go in yet. And, I finally had a call with her and said, what's going on? Tell me about what's going on. And I just went, now I'll talk to you at the end of 5 years because that's when I get to come off this stuff. And she was like, yeah, you do what you need to do. And so Greg looked at me and I hate this quote, a bumblebee doesn't know he can fly. I mean, a bumblebee is not aerodynamic and should not be able to fly, but he does. And then there's the old lady, I call it grandma quote, that the little birdie says, what if I fall? I can't fly. And she says back to them, what if you soar? What if you spread your wings and you soar? And I hate the what if scenarios, right? I don't want to look at what if. I want to be in the moment, present with reality. But my husband throws that in my face. What if? And I'm thinking, well, it's an investment in money, time. I've got all this stuff I'd have to do. And of course, I'm finding excuses, right? Because I don't want to fail.
Yes.
Because Lord knows none of us want to try something and fail, right? Especially when you're investing time and money into it. You don't want to fail. And so I sat there and it's just like, that voice. What if, Robin? What if? What are you so afraid of? Yes, you've got all these odds you're fighting against. Everything, it's like a brick wall closing in on you, or at the end of the tunnel is that light, but it's a train. Do you really want to go for that? And my husband says, what if? And I thought, I'm going to smack him. He's going to talk, right? So, but seriously, I thought about it and I cried because this has been a big battle. It is what put me in a spiral of a depression, right? I survived cancer, for God's sake, a cancer that 80 to 90% of women die from, undiagnosed. And they found it. I have an amazing oncologist who saved my life. Why am I not putting on those darn boxing gloves and fight? And I cried some more and cried some more. And that night I just cried myself to sleep because I thought, I am just overwhelmed at what if. Don't throw those two words at me. What if? Because you and I both know, we've always said, what if you fail? What if no one signs up? What if no one comes? That's in our heads because as women, that's naturally what we do. And it's so much easier for us to go to the negative than the positive for some reason. We're drawn to that negative thinking. And I don't know if it's just because what we're conditioned and what we get in the world or on TV but that's where we go in most areas of our life, even if we never admit it, right? I'd never admit that's what I see, but I do now because I'm not the only one, right? I'm not the only one that has a fear of what if I fail?
Yes.
Greg told me you don't fail unless you don't try. And I'm like, don't throw my mindset coaching at me. Just don't do it, right? Oh, Lord knows you don't want to have to learn from yourself, right? What's worse is when your spouse is sitting there repeating things you've told clients, right? That's when you just want to say, sit down, shut up.
So, I don't want to talk to you right now.
Yeah, I just out of the office right now. Just go. I just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to hear that from you. But see, mind you, when I tell him that, he shuts me down and storms away. But he can throw it at me. So it's a give and take, right?
Yeah.
But so I got back on the phone with her and I said, Amy, what if? Let's do it. I'm all in, 100%. One more thing. Maybe it's the answer. Maybe it'll work. And so they were excited. And what's nice I think what's different from anything else I did, it's coach led. So I got a coach to help me on my really crappy days when I wanted to give up, and that same coach to celebrate my wins. Like when I posted, my wedding ring. I don't know if you can see it there, but yeah, it's too big for me. But can't resize it, so I have to be careful because the other night I did this in the living room and the ring went across the room.
Now that's such a good problem to have, right?
Not always. Greg's trying to beat Clyde over to it, and Clyde is for anybody that doesn't know me, Clyde is our 8-month-old Saint Bernard that is the size of a mini horse. Dude is big. I mean, his paws are bigger than my hand. So yeah. But yeah, that was our entertainment there. But you got stuff like, shirts just don't fit no more, and underwear doesn't stay on, and bras don't. I mean, the bra actually fits right now instead of being like totally uncomfortable. But yeah, I said yes to the program. I got on board, and the first week, I think I had 7 pounds gone.
Nice.
And I thought, whatever. Everybody does well the first week, right? That could be water. Lord knows I got enough water from the lymphedema from when they took the lymph nodes out of the groin. I'm stuck with lymphedema for the rest of my life. But you manage it and you deal with it and whatever. But I thought, just fluid. 11 weeks in and 60 pounds gone.
Yay.
Oh, I am still, sitting there pinching myself. And really, I will tell you this, every time I get on that darn scale, and it's really cool, it hooks up to the phone, and so it tracks, and I've got a graph line and everything else, and it tells me plus or minus.
Yes.
And I weigh every Monday morning, same time, same day of the week, and I actually get on the scale 3 times because I don't believe what I'm seeing, right?
Yes.
I just when I hit, it's actually 59.6 if I want to be totally honest. So not quite 60, but 59.6. But I am just blown away at the power of saying yes to some things happen. But the one thing, honestly, that I needed to really define to say yes and be all in was my why. Um, you cannot create wellness if you don't know your why. And I believe that. And I believe your why should make you cry. So when you talk about it, it's driven. It's a passion. You can feel it when you talk about it. So my why for what I'm doing is because I want to walk. Told you I want to walk. I sit in the car at shopping centers or at the grocery store, and I watch people get in and out of their vehicles with no problem and walk in like if it's nothing. I watch people, my husband, be able to get into bed, sit there, flip his legs around, lay down, go to bed. He needs to go sit down on the sofa. He just sits. If he needs to stand up, he stands. It doesn't work that way for me.
Yes.
It doesn't. I can't
And,
walk
and
out in public.
and people take those things for granted,
Oh,
right? So,
I never knew how much I did, to be honest, until I can't.
yeah.
It's like they told me with the lymphedema that I can't fly. If I get on a plane, I got a really good chance of having a blood clot go to my heart and kill me. And that's part of lymphedema. Not that I wanted to fly anywhere, but don't tell me I can't because I want to fly if I want to fly. But it's different when you can't.
Yes.
But I also am tired of watching my poor husband do everything in our house. He cleans it, he does the laundry, he does the dishes. And, when I have a small group here on Saturdays, he's the one that cleans the house for them. And, it really sucks to be sitting on the sofa playing a game on a pad, what do you call them? Tablet. And he's vacuuming the house. That kills me. And everybody's like, oh, just enjoy it, be treated like a queen. And I said, you know what? It's good if I can do it and he offers to do it, but he's being forced to do it after working all day.
Yes.
I work all day, but it's different when you work at home because you can pop in and out and do things, right? So I had to give up my chickens outside because I can't walk out there to them. So we have 3 left that aren't laying eggs, and he wants them to just drop dead. Great. So, but I'm hoping that after I replace the knees, I will start chickens again. But I have a goal that I will actually be, I'm going to say another 100 pounds to go. So I know when I do before and after pictures, it's like, I don't see it, but I can feel it in clothes and, obviously jewelry, right? But the goal is 6 months to have that other 100 off. And I'll schedule my knee surgery about it'll be my birthday gift next year, mid-year.
Okay.
And then I can go walk with everybody after I recover from that. But at least that recovery has a end to the means, where right now we don't. So I'm here basically to encourage folks that while, I've got one hell of a story, there's no other way to say it, that is real. And most people that lived my life wouldn't be able to survive it. But I survived because of faith and community. If I didn't have the support around me that I have, I wouldn't have made it through the cancer. And I know that. My husband is totally amazing. And our neighbors became extended family, and they're awesome. We celebrate the holidays with them, and birthdays and everything else. So they're just part of the family, right?
Yeah.
Great medical team for the most part. So all of that helped me get through it. Where I looked at other people, especially during chemo, really, that would be sitting there for that 8-hour infusion alone. That sucks because that's a long time to sit there with poison basically going into your system.
But
Poison that kills.
unfortunately, it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You need the poison, but then there's
Yeah,
all these side effects and all these things that disrupt your entire body.
yep. And it takes a while to overcome it. I've been out of chemo 4.5 years, and I still have numbness in my fingers. I still have chemo brain every now and then, where the brain just kind of stops working. Um, and there's still some fatigue. I mean, I could sit there and come in and look at stuff and get ready to do something and go, crap, why am I here? Okay, I
What
knew
was
I
I
should.
going to do?
Yeah, how do I do that again? So, but it doesn't happen as much now as it did a couple years ago. Usually it happens when I'm trying to focus on something I need to do for me. It's
Yes.
funny, it doesn't impact any clients or anything, just me. No, I don't know, maybe it's a block in my head. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I just really want to say if I can come through what I did with a positive mindset. Now, it took work, it took community, and Rolly, I know you've got some great communities you do. Without that type of stuff,
Yeah.
we're not going to win.
No.
We can't. There is nobody out there as an island that can survive life's crap. And that's all it is. It's crap that gets thrown at us on a regular basis that it's kind of like, here, can you catch it? Or is it going to splat on your face?
Yeah.
And I'm learning to duck real quick. Duck, duck, duck. Let it hit somebody else for a change, right?
Yeah.
No, but it is possible to come back around from anything. And that's why I tell people I've survived everything except for, thank you, Lord, death of a spouse or divorce. Those are the only two things I haven't dealt with. Because to me, when I've lost like my Dante bear, that was the death of a child to me. And I know some people that have, I know it, people that have children versus for children, you may not understand that, but they become your children. Especially when I couldn't
And
have any.
even people who have changes, like have children, like I know for me, it makes a difference. And
Yeah.
so, like whether it's my aunt, so if something were to happen to my cat, I would be equally upset as I would if it was my kid.
Yeah.
So, so I definitely understand that. And I think that anybody who has pets understands that as well. That they have that as well. So I know that this isn't something that we had talked about, but I was actually, while you were talking and sharing,
Uh-oh.
is that I was trying to find one of the images that really caught my eye that you have shared. So are you okay with me sharing one of your Facebook pictures?
Oh, Lordy, why not? I mean, Facebook. What
Yeah.
the heck? Let's go for it.
So just because I think that this is really incredible, and I think that others need to see it. And can you see it right now? I don't know what you can see. Yes, you can. So here is the picture, and I'm going to take this banner off so that we can see that better. But like this is your 2.5 months, 59.6 pounds. And I know that you don't see it, but like look at the difference in the definition of your face. And so it is, and it's there, and people can see it. And so I think that that's really important for people to see. So I know those of you who are actually going to catch this on the audio aren't going to be able to see that, but it's just so important for us to be able to see that, because I see it, Robin. So I work with Robin on a daily basis, and we don't always actually get to talk to each other in face to face, but I've seen a difference. And when she shared her images, and with that particular image, it was like, oh my gosh, I can really seriously see that difference. I can really see how that has shifted for you. And so, and I just wanted to share that with the rest of the world, because I think that that is, it is so uplifting to be able to see that, that shift and that change, and being able to see that progress of, and like you said, like listening to your story and knowing that background. And it was all that I can do to try and read your bio without, without shedding tears, because there's so much in there, Robin, that is incredible. Like, you have overcome so much. And when you talk about it, it's not like, oh my gosh, my life is just so dreaded, and I've had all these horrible things happen to me. It's like, okay, I've had these things happen to me, and this is where I've moved forward, and I don't let it stop me. I don't let it hold me down. And so, not being able to walk, and obviously my situation is much different than yours, but like that short period of time where I could not walk from breaking my leg, it was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know how somebody like Robin can do this. I don't know how you can't, that you're not able to get through, today with that, with that part of things, right? So, and then to be told, well, until you lose weight, we're not helping you. And oh, by the way, you can't lose weight because this medication helps to increase weight, and you can't stop taking the medication because the cancer might come back. So yeah, you need to figure that out, right?
That's why I say you're given a lot of crap, and you've got to, we got choice with our crap. We can either allow it to fertilize our life, or we can allow it to bury it.
And
I've seen too many people get buried by their crap, and I don't want to go there. I've got a great life. I've got an amazing husband, and I've got an opportunity now to share that light in that tunnel doesn't have to be a train anymore. I have one of my clients, he's a hoot, he's from India. So we got English as a second language. So I actually adore him. He's trying to, as he says, get rid of his belly, because his wife, they got married 3 years ago, but she's in India, he's here. And she just got her visa approved last night. So she's going to be coming out here shortly in a couple of weeks. But it's a coworker with my husband. And I was on the phone with my husband, and they were in the truck together going to lunch or something. And Greg's like, you're on speaker, so be careful what you say. And so I talked to him about what I needed. And Ragesh says to me, I need you to coach me. And I laughed. I said, okay. And told my husband I love him and left, right? And I got here to sit here and think, and I thought, oh my gosh, how stinking rude was that, right? Maybe the guy really wanted help. And so I reached out to him, and he says, yes, I want you to coach me. I have a belly now. My wife's coming. And I just kind of laughed. I said, okay, what do you want to know? He says, I'll come to your house tomorrow. What time? And we set up a time. He came over on a Saturday evening, and we walked through the plan and the investment into it and what he has to do. And he handed me his credit card. And he says, I'm all in. Let's go. I have to get rid of my belly. I don't want my wife to see belly. So, all right. And I just spent so much fun with him. He has reached out every day. And at the end of his first week, he had 6 pounds gone.
Nice.
And when I saw a picture of him, he got tattled on day before yesterday. I guess the IT department went out for the Christmas dinner. Okay. And he messages me. He says, I'm going to break plan today. I'm going to cheat. And I said, just make good choices, right? That's all I can tell you. Greg's sitting next to him at the dinner, taking pictures of what he ate and sending it to me, including a slice of chocolate mousse, double chocolate mousse cake or something like that, pie. And he'd eaten all but a thin crust of it. And he sat there at the table with me. He says, that's not on plan. Just don't send this to Robin. So I told him, I said, just drink a lot of water, buddy. You'll
Yeah.
get back, and he's back on. And but I'll tell you this much: the picture with him, it didn't show his head; it just kind of showed his torso at the table. His belly's going down. I was like, I'm so happy for him. His
Yes.
wife's going to come, and he won't have a belly.
Nice.
So, but it's
And
been
that is
hard
his
for him.
why,
Hmm?
right? And that is his, I said, and that goes back to that is his why.
That's his why, and that's everybody I ask. I have another person that I talk to, and believe they're on month 2 now, and their why is so they can live their life with their kids.
Yes.
That they found that and they need to release about 100 pounds, and they found that they couldn't keep up with the children. They were putting other things in priority over their health, and they just needed to have something that would help them get going. And
Yes.
on the first round, and came back and flat out said, I'm planning on Thanksgiving week. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. But she was still surprised. She picked up plan on Friday after Thanksgiving here in the US, and picked up back on plan. And what was awesome about that is even though she was only on plan for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, she had still lost a pound from that week. So that's
And
not
and
bad.
it really does make a difference, right? So and it really does make a difference when we actually follow the plan. And so
Yeah.
and you've been able to find a plan that really works for you that you wanted to be able to share. So I know that you have an assessment that you wanted to be able to share with people. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The assessment is basically a wellness assessment, and it kind of allows me to see where you're at, what your lifestyle is like now, and what your goal is. Because there's different plans or different setups of the plan you can do. I mean, some people may only need 20 pounds, and other people may be more like me. That was okay. Originally, I said 100, then I went, now I'm at 160 is my goal. So you just never know when you get going where you're going to end up. Um, we've had people on plan that had to lose over 200. So everybody's at a different place, and everybody loses at a different rate because no two bodies are identical.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you got to put them on the right plan, and it'll help select what kind of feelings, we call them feelings, during the day, that you'll have, because everybody's got a taste, right? I don't care for chocolate; I'd rather have lemon. So I'm a little different. But basically, what it'll do is give me an idea of what you're doing now. So, how much are you spending on food right now? How often do you cook? Do you eat out? Do you exercise? How much water are you drinking? How much alcohol? Excuse me. Because all of that impacts. And then, I have somebody that would drink a bottle of wine a night and couldn't figure out why she was gaining weight. I eat good otherwise. I eat small stuff. Well, look at a bottle of wine and how much alcohol in that alcohol, how much is sugar and how much is carbohydrates. That's
Yeah.
where you're getting weight. You could eat little mineral, you could be a vegan and drink wine and you'll gain weight. So it's just about knowing how the body works. And what I love about being on plan is Dr. Anderson's the one that created it. And he's a medical doctor that decided that too many of his patients were coming in. He was actually, I believe, cardiologist with these issues, and they couldn't get rid of the weight. So he created a plan that would work, and
Yep.
now it's available to all of us, not just his patients. And my husband says you're on a scientific experiment. So that's what he calls, because with me and where I'm standing right now, it's an experiment. Is it even going to work for me? Well, the answer is yes. Uh, but basically, and it'll tell me a little bit about, I want to know the why. Because if somebody doesn't have a defined why, we need to define that before they do the program. Because otherwise, you're not going to win. But what's amazing about this plan is it's coach led. So you get a coach, me, and I give you access to a couple other coaches as well because I don't know everything, right?
Yep.
Um, there's a community that we plug everybody into that has about 65,000 people in it right now, very active. And it's a place where if you're struggling, if you want to celebrate, they plug in. and share, and then everybody in the community rises up with them. And then the habits of health system and mindset. Huge, huge. Like, it's a book like this big.
Oh, wow.
And Dr. Anderson wrote it, and it's got 21 elements of health that once and it's like a journal workbook that
Yeah.
you actually will fill out as you go through each element because it defines your why, it defines your habits, and then it starts getting into why we do what we do. Why this program, one of the things I learned being certified with them is that this program is not burning the food we're taking or the fuelings we're taking as the fat. The program is receiving fuelings that have enough nutrients, minerals, vitamins, everything in it, enough calories, enough fiber, protein, all of that. And then it goes to where it's starting to use the fat as fuel in your body, which most of
Nice.
these plants don't do that. It's, kind of, there's all this other concept. But what he wanted to do is to get us in our, what we call fat burn. So we now are at a point where our energy and our fat, we're burning this old stored fat, that's there, that visqueen fat that actually is what causes health problems. And so that's why we have more energy. I wake up in the morning and I'm up. I don't need the 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, you know, I'm dragging, I'm going to need a nap. I don't deal with any of that anymore. No more brain fog, fatigue stuff, which is
Nice.
totally amazing because, like I said, nothing has done that before. And even things that did it before don't do it now. And then the fourth component is the fuelings. So what happens is we put together a box. It's for a month, and it's called 5-in-1. So 5 fuelings from the company, and then we do one lean and green that we actually cook. And we have a list of yeses and nos because the one thing I learned on this plan, did not know it. We don't do fruit during fat burn because even natural sugars and the carbohydrates in the fruits will
Yep.
take you out of fat burn. And oh my gosh, carrots are a no on plan.
Oh, really?
Carrots, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. Yep, because they're
Wow.
high in carbohydrates.
Okay.
So I did not know that. And in one of the chapters, I'm sitting there going through the element and studying. I'm like, what do you mean that carrot is the worst thing for somebody trying to lose weight? I had them all day long. So yeah, there's these things that your body needs to have and things you don't. Now, once we hit our goal, once I hit goal, I transition off a plan, and then we start adding back in the other vegetables and the fruits, and
Okay.
we try to watch our body, and we're
Yep.
still coached, right? So even though I'm a coach, I have a coach. I actually have 3. Actually, there's more than that because I'm part of a coaching community, so I plug into them when I need help too. So it's kind of cool. But it's all about community. It's about we're all in this together. And I think what I do every morning is in our community group. I get on there and I scroll through and I look at everybody's testimonials. I look at all of their wins, their befores and afters, their NSV, non-scale victories,
Okay.
because that inspires me to know this is all real. This is all possible. I look at when I first posted in the community, and I'm still iffy on this whole anti-cancer medication, right? I posted on there, this is who I am, this is my goal, and this is what's been stopping me. And there were so many in that group that were on the same medication, and they did the plan and it worked. And I went, that is really encouraging to me to keep going. Because,
Yes.
while it may work for everybody else, if they're not taking a medication like that, that's a whole different scenario. But
Yes.
the beauty and the scientific side of it is that it don't matter. It actually puts the body into fat burn. Now, we went on a choo-choo train ride in Smoky Mountains. and they serve in the fall the most amazing pumpkin cheesecake. Amazing. We're talking, can I have two? And I was on plan, so I did take my stuff with me. I made my own little salad I took with me and a couple of snack things, and so that I would not be eating their stuff. But the pumpkin cheesecake came out, and I ate it, every last crumb, and it was delicious. And it knocked me out of fat burn for 3 days. So I had to get back in there. So, you know, it is what it is. But, it's about our choices we make every day
Yes.
and every minute. And we make over 250 choices on food a day. In our head, when we play it out, when we go to the kitchen in the morning, when we are working on dinner, all of that. And sometimes we just need help making right choices and getting on a path that works. So I have to say mine works, but the assessment will let me know where you're at, what you want to do, and then we have a conversation. We don't just say, here's a link, go buy the program. We have a conversation because I want to know the why. We want to find out what's going on inside your head. What's your mindset coming into this? What is your support system behind you? Do you have one? I mean, I've got somebody that's getting ready to sign that his wife wants to sabotage it for him. That's crazy. Why would a spouse want to sabotage what you're doing? But she does. But the amazing part is it's like, fine, you go over there and you live your world. I need to get healthy so that I'm here for you. So I'm going to use this community and my coach to give me the support system I need to move forward. Not everybody, I guess, is as fortunate as I am, where my he's pushing harder than I am because he really wants me to have my legs. He's just, he got to figure it's hard for him to sit there and watch, right?
Yes.
He can't help me.
Yeah.
There's nothing he can do to help me. He takes me in the wheelchair when we go out places. I use the walker, and he bought a truck that lowers down so I can get in it. He built me ramps to get out into the garage. He will do anything for me.
Yes.
I mean, I've got grab bars in the bathroom to get up. It's the day that I can just stand up from the chair. Stand up from the toilet, y'all. I can't do that. I have to pull myself up. Because the bad part about your knees are what shifts the weight so you can stand.
Yes.
If you don't have knees, you ain't standing up like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what that's for. And I also have on the website a gift called Today I Will Thrive. And that's just, it's a really cool, I think it's pretty, it's fun. Like a checklist each day that allows you to check off your water, your food, your movement, your mindset. Where's your mind at? Things that you did, your victories for the day, and also to write down things you need to shift for tomorrow. Because I think that's important to know what we need to shift. But that's so that's on the website too. It's on the homepage, I believe, robinhardy.net. And make sure it's net, not .com. Somebody's holding that hostage. And, but yeah, it's a free assessment. We have a conversation, and if you're a good fit and you know your why and you're all in, then we jump right in. And what's awesome is I do offer wellness credits, $25 off your first order. We had $50 off during this week, but as it shifts in the long term, it'll be 25 off your first order. Your second order, you actually get 10% off from the company. So that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. Allows me to buy things that might be a little more expensive in my box, just because I'm like, haha, I don't have to pay for it. It's free.
Nice.
As long as I keep my dollar amount the same.
Yeah.
So, but that's what it is. It's a reasonable plan. I mean, most people spend food a day, $15 to $25 a day. This one runs about $15 a day for you to do it.
Nice.
So
I've added the other links. So there's 2 links in there that I have put in. So the robinhardy.net /assessment. And then I also added the Today I Will Thrive, and I put the robinhardy.net in there
And if
as
they
well.
want to go, let's see, if they want to go directly to the gift page, I mean, you never know, they might. I think it's just,
I think it's pretty simple though, right on your website, Robin. I'm just on there right now, and it looks pretty simple. So it's just their name and email. So it's yeah, I think it's
yep,
good.
yeah. And then so yeah, that's just kind of what we do. But the assessment will give us a good idea. It takes a few minutes to fill out, but it's worth the filling out. It kind of, I ask about your stress level. I ask if you're full-time, self-employed, if you're pregnant. So obviously, if a guy, you're not pregnant, right? We don't
Then
think.
obviously the answer is no.
I would think, but I want to know how much you're eating, how much you eat out a day, beverages, how much alcohol do you drink? And it's not to judge you, if
Yeah,
you,
it's just to get a clear picture.
yeah, I mean, if you drink a bottle of wine a night, that's up to you.
Yep.
Hopefully,
But then that impacts how things are going to shift.
yep, if that will impact your weight, your mindset, your family, your relationships, all kinds of dynamics. So, but anyhow, I believe in the plan so much that I became certified with them. So I
Nice.
am an independent certified health coach um, that will find the answer you need and help you reach your goals. Because I'm one of those people that I do things a lot because somebody did it for me. And I had an amazing coach, I still do, that is working with me. And the amazing part is her coach and her coach's coach are also working with me just because they
Nice.
love my story. And they're
Yes.
like, you are such an inspiration. That you're winning on this. We need to support this more.
And you definitely are an inspiration, Robin. And so, so for anybody who wants to check things out, then you have access to, in the description, you'll have access to contact with Robin, but you'll also have access to it on Facebook and YouTube for those of you who are watching it that way. And for everyone else, I will chat with you guys next week. And I'm actually going to be on twice next week, Monday and Wednesday with the Chatting with Wisdom. And then, because very shortly we're going to have no Chatting with Wisdom until the new year. So we've only got a few more weeks left before I don't no longer have Chatting with Wisdom for the week. So I am looking forward to being able to connect with all of you, and I will chat soon. Bye for now.
Bye, guys. Thank you.